but you also experience your quality of life diminish year after year after year. And you also see that you have less and less buying power because of, there's inflation throughout the country, but that inflation is even more pronounced in a state like California, especially when it's tied to housing prices.
Yeah.
Ana Kasparian completely roasts the left and talks about how she thinks California might be turning red. Well, I am here in Southern California, so I'll give you my thoughts on this as well. Let's see what Ana Kasparian has to say.
California, a state that takes a notoriously long time to tally everything up. Golden State Democrats are a little worried about a clear right-wing shift among voters who used to be dependable Democratic voters. Now, it's not necessarily a right-wing shift. It's more that these are voters who aren't showing up to cast their ballots for Democrats anymore. And they also made some surprising congressional gains, despite what we've noticed with some of these typical Democratic voters staying at home. So let's get into the details. First, important to know that Trump flipped 10 counties red, and the state GOP picked off 3 legislative seats despite being vastly outspent. Okay, so that's some of the evidence that there's been a little bit of change in California, which is a deep blue state. So the biggest shift to the right is seen among Latino voters in the state, which is a huge blow to the Democrats, clearly. Historically, Democrats had been able to solidify support among Latino voters in California thanks to backlash over a previous proposition. It was known as Proposition 187. And that was an initiative that was targeting immigrants in the country illegally. And that moved Latino voters decisively toward the Democratic Party. However, now polling suggests that the Prop 87 era is over. And Latino voters, unsurprisingly, are concerned about affordability in a state like California. High taxes, high housing prices, and they feel that the Democratic Party hasn't done enough to help them with this.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything is too much, and the stupid Democrats running California just see us as freaking cash cows. Like they just see us as a source for just tax revenue, and they want to freaking charge us for everything. Right now, they're currently testing a program where they want to charge us by the mile that we drive. You want to know why? I'll tell you why. Stupid freaking Newsom. Oh my goodness, I hate this dude. But I'll tell you why. So Newsom, right, made it a law where by 2035, he wants to do away with gasoline cars, right? Gasoline-powered cars, he just wants electric vehicles, right? Okay, so people start buying more electric cars, right? Well, not only does it like a month or two later or a few months later or however long later, Newsom starts telling people, hey, could you maybe not charge your car so much because it's overwhelming the electric grid? But now that more people are going electric, well, now they're not getting enough gas tax revenue from the high gas tax that they charge us. So, because of that, they want to start charging us by the mile because of a policy that he created. You don't hate these people enough.
A post-election poll conducted by a Democratic pollster named David Binder found that affordability and high cost of living in the state were the preeminent concerns among California's Latino voters. More than 3/4 of respondents said that California state government policies made prices much higher or somewhat higher. 53% disapproved of how the government is addressing the economy, including jobs and the cost of living. And guys, I can't emphasize enough how much resentment starts to build in a state where taxes are very high, but you also experience your quality of life diminish year after year after year. And you also see that you have less and less buying power because of, there's inflation throughout the country, but that inflation is even more pronounced in a state like California, especially when it's tied to housing prices.
Yeah, so look, there's an oddity here of the Democrats picking up 3 national seats in California. We'll get to that in a second. And I have a couple theories on that. But overall, the Democrats got their clock cleaned in California. And so when we talk about why, it's super important that we're honest with ourselves, because if we're not, we'll just keep making the same mistake. And the biggest state in the country will go more and more Republican. My God, if the Republicans capture California, it's over. It's over nationally completely. And we're not close to that now.
No.
Okay.
I mean, and is that so bad if the Republicans capture California? I mean, if this is what we have with the Democrats in power, why would it be so bad if the Republicans recaptured it? And, you know, I brought up the whole gas tax thing and stuff, but they took out all this money to fix the homelessness, right? And I think it dropped a little bit, but there's still high homelessness here in California. And then they want to have it where in schools, the teachers are not allowed to tell if your kids identify as a different gender or not. I mean, what the heck? They've sued counties for going against California. Huntington Beach voted. The people voted in Huntington Beach, right? To have voter ID laws, okay? Huntington Beach, they held a vote, and the people voted in favor of voter ID laws. California sued them for it. I think that California lost, and I think Huntington Beach is allowed to keep their voter ID laws. I might be wrong on that. I might be confusing it with another story. But the fact that they're trying to do that stuff to the counties here in California, the cities here in California, that should tell you the kind of the evilness, the terribleness of the Democrats.
So Adam Schiff, who was, in my opinion, a terrible candidate, ran against Steve Garvey, who had almost no money, and he still beat him by 19. But 19 is closer than what normally happens,
yes.
Especially because Garvey had no money at all, right? And so you see this red wave coming through the counties, affecting the state legislature, et cetera. And so when you ask them why they're going in this direction, the economy is a big part of it.
Right.
Like, so, and to me, the most critical stat, I don't know if you were gonna get to this, Anna, but Trump only picked up 75,000 votes in California in this election. But Kamala Harris, the Democratic leader, lost 1.8 million votes from Joe Biden.
Yes, that's true. Yep.
And so what that shows you is not that the people woke up in California and were like, oh my God, I think Trump and the Republicans are so amazing and they're wonderful and we're now all Republicans. No, but they woke up and said, the Democrats haven't done something for me in so long that no, I'm not gonna go vote for you because I have to, or it's my moral duty, or you're gonna yell at me. No, you didn't deliver, so I'm not voting for you.
That's exactly right, yes. So Harris got 1.8 million votes less than Joe Biden did in 2020 in the state of California. And so, look, a lot of this has to do with people who just didn't feel motivated to show up and vote. Some people, like myself, did show up and vote, but I did not vote for either presidential candidate. And so, huge swaths of Latino voters specifically decided, I'm not gonna vote for a presidential candidate here.
Stupid Anna. I mean, listen, it's good she didn't vote for Kamala, but she didn't vote for Trump either. Oh, I don't know. It's just, how can you sit there and be against everything that, well, maybe not everything, because I know she's, listen, you know, I know Ana Kasparian is not like a completely right winger now or anything like that. She's moving toward the center. So yes, I know she still has a lot of left-wing views. But when it comes to this stuff that they're complaining about, like the economy and stuff, how could they not vote? How could she not vote for Donald Trump? Like, might as well just throw your freaking ballot in the garbage.
And overall, there was a 9-point drop in voter turnout in the state. Now, a Republican consultant by the name of Mike Madrid says, I really want people to understand that the lack of voting, the lack of civic engagement is in and of itself a political statement. I totally agree with that. He continues, they finally left the bad relationship where this person is telling them over and over, I understand you, I get your needs, I hear what you're telling me, but then does not produce over and over and over again. Now they're finally saying, you know what, I'm out. And then the final statement from Mike Madrid is, in many ways, that's worse for Democrats. And this is so true. They really do have a hill to climb here, because they're not going to be able to get those voters back until they establish trust. So there's a really big burden on them, especially when the primary driver of affordability is housing. It's not like you can solve this by the midterms. And so this piece focuses on the uphill battle for Democrats in the state of California leading into the 2026 midterm elections. And by the way, in 2026, California is electing a new governor, thank God. So we'll see how that all plays out. But there are the ballot initiatives as well, because I think that's where it's become abundantly clear that voters in California have reconsidered their more left-wing positions on certain issues. So California voters actually approved 8 out of the 9 general election ballot measures endorsed by the state's Republican Party. The 9th, they just remained neutral on, and that was the one that would amend California's state constitution to protect gay marriage. Also, Prop 36, which imposes stricter penalties on some theft and drug crimes, easily passed with 70% of voters in favor of it. And that reversed a decade-long trend in the state of California that embraced criminal justice reform and basically went against the more tough on crime policies.
Yeah, listen, my experience here in California is this last election, I saw way more Trump flags. Way more Trump flags than I did than ever before. I remember in 2016, you wouldn't see any Trump things, maybe 1 or 2 here, but you wouldn't see any. 2020, I saw a lot more Trump things, which is why I'm shocked that, obviously I think there were shenanigans in the election, but that's why I was like, there's no way he had more support this time around than last time. There's no way that he actually lost, but whatever. Well, I've talked about in other videos. 2024, I saw way more Trump flags. I saw banners hung up on the side of people's houses. And yeah, we voted that for harsher being tough on crime because we were getting sick of it. We're getting sick of this stuff. But we still do have a long way to go. Like the tide is turning. It is, but we got a lot more to go. This is not over yet until California turns red. And yes, unfortunately, right now, we have a lot of people like Ana Kasparian here who would rather just not vote at all than vote Republican. We need a change. I don't know how you could think that, by the way. I remember in 2016, I had never supported any Republicans up to that point. But I voted for Donald Trump because it was between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And I was like, well, listen, I don't know if Donald Trump's actually going to do a good job or not, but I definitely know Hillary Clinton's going to screw things up. You know what I mean? I didn't just abstain and be like, well, I'm not voting for either. It's like, no, you can't just, you can abstain, but you shouldn't. If you want to see actual change, just by sitting out, you're not going to see any change. So we're still dealing with that type of stuff. But I am seeing, more counties, like I brought up earlier, going to war with the state, like over the whole voting ID issue and stuff. I have seen it. There is a battle going on here in California, I assure you guys. And while it's still California, there's still a lot of stupid, brainwashed people here. The tide is turning. But I do want to speed it up because I do not want a Democrat taking over Newsom for Newsom in 2026. I do not. Newsom's reign of terror has been horrible. The guy does not care about his citizens. He just cares about himself. And so in 2026, I want to see anyone that's not a Democrat back in office. What do you guys think? Sound off in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel if you enjoy content like this. And if you do enjoy content like this, I got a whole bunch more goodies for you on the screen to click away and enjoy.